Hey everybody, what's going on? Helmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I wanted to look at a little bit of a different video today and talk about what to do with the first minute and 40 seconds of a game of League. Now the video is paused at the moment and I've re-enabled my cursor here because I'm going to be showing you guys a couple of things about how to improve your first minute and 30 of the game. Because realistically speaking, when you play League of Legends, especially if you're playing ranked, the game begins when you find a game, and it doesn't end until the Nexus explodes. The whole time you should be focused on the game, and a lot of times people take this first minute and 30 for granted. They think to themselves, hey, that's totally fine, I don't need to worry about doing anything, I'm just going to hang out in a bush and spam my emotes. And then when you get invaded at level 1 and first blooded, and then your jungler can't gank because he's behind, and then you wonder why you had such a bad laning phase. So I want to talk today about that this first minute and 30 seconds are important to the game, and you need to make sure that when you're playing League that you are actively making use of this initial time. Now, we do have a couple of disconnect issues early on in the game, but I do want to continue talking about kind of what goes on here. Now, the enemy team goes for an invasion here, and they can do this because they all connected at the beginning of the game and they all moved out as a group. Now, fortunately, I was there. I saw them doing it. I was able to skill E, get the stun off, and we know that they're invading now. So we were able to help counter that. Now, you don't always have an invasion. This is a sort of once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. However, if you load into a game, you want the opportunity to do it, especially if you look at your comp and say, hey, we have a pretty good invasion comp, which they did. They have the Thresh, they have the Rengar. Ostensibly, you could probably use Xayah because she has area of effect damage. Jace is pretty good in early invasion scenarios. So they definitely want to be looking for an invasion in this game. And the problem, though, is that you can't do an invasion if your team isn't all connected at the beginning. In fact, if they'd have come in as 5, I probably would have died. We probably don't get anything out of this. Now, because you have the Maokai hanging out here, you got the Jace hanging out here, there's not that much going on. Now, the big thing you have to worry about is that if everyone's connected but someone's not paying attention, or they're peeing right now because they're not paying attention to the game, or they're surfing YouTube or Reddit or whatever, then you lose that opportunity to invade straight off the bat. There's no way you can set this up. You can't go in as a group. Invasion is off the table, and your counter invasion will suffer as well. So you need to make sure that the second the game starts, you're communicating with your team. Are we invading? What are we doing? That kind of a thing. Now, if you don't plan on invading, you need to watch for an invasion. And this is kind of why I have the mouse here. Because generally speaking, if you're going to prevent invasion, you want to spread out your team so you can see every entrance to your jungle. So you want someone here, you want to have someone standing here, you'll have someone standing right in this bush, and then you'll have someone standing here with your 5th team member standing in the middle of mid lane. This is so that you guard every entrance to your jungle, and then so enemies can't cheese you from around this corner, you have someone standing mid, because the only way they get through to cheese you is if they come through these side brush. If someone's standing mid, you'll see them walk into the side brush, you'll know what's happening. If you just set that up in the very beginning of the game, you no longer have anything to worry about from getting invaded. You will see them coming, and you will be able to walk away. The other thing is, make sure you're using your trinkets. The Twitch actually almost gets himself killed here. He does have to burn the flash, and I believe the heal as well. But he does get the ward down. We now have vision. If he'd have placed that a little bit earlier when we saw the invasion happening originally, we would have been totally fine. He ends up burning a summoner spell, which isn't great, but we do have vision. Make sure you're using your trinket for the first minute and 30. By the time enemy junglers are ready to gank, which is around 250 or so, your trinket will have another charge ready so you can ward your bush, so you don't need to worry about getting ganked unless they're doing a level 2 cheese. So make sure you are using your trinket early on in the game. One final thing I wanted to mention about early game scenarios is don't scale any one of your abilities until you've actually gotten to lane. Because if you get invaded, you may or may not want a different ability than what you would normally start. As Ezreal, for example, I want to start my Q every single game, because that's most of my damage, that makes my trading better. If I'm trying to last it safely, I can do that. But if I get invaded and I get Thresh hooked or Blitz hooked or whatever, I don't necessarily want to burn a summoner spell immediately. So what I might do is I might skill my E if I see them ganking and immediately E to safety. It makes my laning a little worse, but it means I'm not blowing a summoner spell, and I won't die to the early invasion and the early plays. So make sure if you don't plan on invading, don't skill an ability until you know what's happening. In this game, I skill my E immediately as Tarek when I see the enemy team going for the invasion because I realize I want this. And as it turns out, that's a good ability for me to have anyways as Tarek because it's AoE, it stuns, it's really good in an invasion scenario. And it's good in lane as well. But I wait until I see what's going on just in case, because if my Twitch gets caught out by a thresh hook and he's dying, he flashes but he has ignite, I can skill Bastion, I can shield him, I can try to keep him safe. But the whole point of this is to say that a lot of this game is dictated by the early game and that first minute and 40 or so. So you need to be making sure that when you play the game, especially if you're playing ranked, that you are paying attention to everything that's going on, especially given that the jungler, who's most affected by these early game plays, will have a terrible time if you guys aren't looking out for him and you aren't watching over his jungle. And his goal for the rest of the game is to keep you guys safe and get you fed. So the least you can do is for that first minute and 40, paying attention. Standing all in the same bush, spamming emotes, or all walking. I see this all the time, actually, is people will all stand right in this little gap. Everyone. And this bush right here, nobody will be standing there. And that's how the enemy team comes around behind you and eventually kill you for first blood, because now they've got you on the wrong side of the map. So make sure that if you don't all want to be standing there, you do want to be walking out and spreading yourselves out so you can cover as much ground as possible to watch for these kind of plays. Anyways, that's going to be it. Let me know what you guys thought of this topic in the comments section down below. I'd be interested to know what you guys think of your own early game strategies. Go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will talk to you all later.